Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Valsa Williams and with me is Renuka with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says sensitive justice system is essential for a capable nation and harmonious society. Addresses inaugural session of All India Conference of Law Ministers and Law Secretaries in Gujarat virtually. India stands for open and rule-based maritime borders in Indo-Pacific, asserts Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for consistent efforts to bring India among top 10 countries in Global Innovation Index. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts BJP will return to power with two-third majority in Himachal Pradesh Assembly polls. Prime Minister to dedicate 75 digital banking units to the nation through video conferencing tomorrow. Indian Army signs historic MOU with 11 banks for providing banking facilities to Agniveers. Supreme Court stays release of former Professor G.N. Sai Baba and others from jail in connection with alleged Maoist links case. In cricket, India lift 7th Women's T20 Asia Cup, defeating Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in Bangladesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asserted that a sensitive justice system is essential for a capable nation and a harmonious society. Mr. Modi was addressing the gathering after virtually inaugurating the All India Conference of Law Ministers and Law Secretaries being held at Ekta Nagar at Kevadia in Gujarat today. He said alternative dispute resolution mechanism needs to be encouraged at the local level in states to ensure speedy justice to the people.
स्वस्थ समाज के लिए, आत्मविश्वास से भरे समाज के लिए, देश के विकास के लिए भरोसेमंद और त्वरित न्याय व्यवस्था बहुत ही आवश्यक है। जब न्याय मिलते हुए दिखता है तो संवैधानिक संस्थाओं के प्रति देशवासियों का भरोसा मजबूत होता है और जब न्याय मिलता है तो देश के सामान्य मानवी का आत्मविश्वास भी उतना ही बढ़ता है।
The Prime Minister lauded the role of Lok Adalats in the speedy disposal of cases.
हमने देखा है कि देश में त्वरित न्याय का एक और माध्यम लोक अदालतें भी बनी हैं। कई राज्यों में इसे लेकर बहुत अच्छा काम भी हुआ है। लोक अदालतों के माध्यम से देश में बीते वर्षों में लाखों केसों को सुलझाया गया है। इनसे अदालतों का बोझ भी बहुत कम हुआ है और खास तौर पर गांव में रहने वाले लोगों को, गरीबों को न्याय मिलना भी बहुत आसान हुआ है।
Mr. Modi said it is high time for the states to review their existing laws as per the current need and repeal the old and irrelevant colonial laws.
गुलामी के समय के कई पुराने कानून अब भी राज्यों में भी चल रहे हैं। आजादी के इस अमृत काल में गुलामी के समय से चली आ रहे कानूनों को समाप्त करके नए कानून आज की तारीख के हिसाब से बनाए जाना जरूरी है। इसके अलावा राज्यों के जो मौजूदा कानून है उनकी समीक्षा भी बहुत मददगार साबित होगी। इस समीक्षा के फोकस में ईज ऑफ लिविंग भी हो और ईज ऑफ जस्टिस भी हो।
The Prime Minister also mentioned that the central government has repealed more than 1,500 archaic laws and reduced more than 32,000 compliances in the last 8 years to put an end to the legal hurdles that obstruct the path of innovation and ease of living.
देश ने 1,500 से ज्यादा पुराने और अप्रासंगिक कानूनों को रद्द कर दिया है। इनमें से अनेक कानून तो गुलामी के समय से चले आ रहे हैं। इनोवेशन और ईज ऑफ लिविंग के रास्ते से कानूनी अड़चनों को हटाने के लिए 32,000 से ज्यादा कंप्लायंसेस भी कम किए गए हैं। ये बदलाव जनता की सुविधा के लिए है और समय के हिसाब से भी बहुत जरूरी है।
Mr. Modi further added that state governments should work with a humane approach regarding under-trial prisoners so that the judicial system moves forward with human ideals. He also highlighted the initiatives such as e-courts mission, e-filing of cases and virtual hearing to reduce the pendency of the cases. Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju in his opening remarks also stressed on the coordination between judiciary and executive to minimize the delay in justice delivery and ensure welfare of people. The conference has been organized by the Ministry of Law and Justice, which aims to provide a platform for policymakers to discuss issues related to the Indian legal and judicial system. Law ministers and secretaries of Law Department of States and Union Territories participated in the conference. Prime Minister Modi, who is the President of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, chaired the meeting of CSIR Society in New Delhi today. During the meeting, Mr. Modi appreciated the efforts of CSIR in the past 80 years and urged to develop the vision for 2042, when CSIR will turn 100 years old. He emphasized that for technology to reach the common man, an integrated approach of scientific, commercial and social components must be pursued. Mr. Modi asked the leaders of the scientific community to adopt a one-person, one-lab approach to help boost scientific research and development through such a focused approach. He also suggested that a virtual summit of all laboratories can be held regularly in which they can learn new things from each other's experience. The Prime Minister called upon the scientific community to come up with technological solutions to increase protein content in cereals and new varieties of millets to improve the yield and also the nutritional content. He asked the scientific community to develop technologies not only for India but for the world and pursue novel approaches for addressing energy needs, focusing on green energy.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today reiterated that India always stands for open, free and rule-based maritime borders in the Indo-Pacific. Speaking at the 18th Heads of Asian Coast Guard Agencies meeting at New Delhi, Mr. Singh emphasized on India's commitment to implement international regulations and enact legislations for maritime safety and security.
Together, we will make the maritime domain conducive by ensuring safe and secure maritime environment and cleaner seas in the region. India believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that the whole world is one family, and in that spirit we call for nations to come together for the larger good of mankind.
The Defence Minister said India is encouraged by the effectiveness of agreements like Regional Cooperation Agreement for combating piracy and armed robbery against ships in Asia.
We consider mutual cooperation alone as the most effective way for ensuring safety and security at sea. And in this regard, we shall spare no efforts while promoting such cooperative mechanisms.
Mr. Singh underlined that India has also shifted its focus on blue economy to improve livelihoods while preserving the ocean ecosystems. Earlier in the day, speaking at another event in New Delhi, the Defence Minister asserted that self-reliance in the defence sector and secured borders are the critical aspects for making India a powerful nation. He said defence export has gone up to 13,000 crore rupees, which was earlier 1,900 crore rupees. The Army has signed historic MOU with 11 banks for providing banking facilities to Agniveers on enrollment. The banks include SBI, PNB, Bank of Baroda, HDFC Bank and Axis Bank. The features and benefits offered under Agniveer salary package are similar to the defence salary package. In addition, the banks have offered soft loans to existing Agniveers to promote and enhance their entrepreneurial skill. The first batch of Agniveers under Agnipath scheme will be joining training centres by January 2023.
In Jammu and Kashmir, terrorists shot dead a civilian in Chaudhary Gund village of Shopian district this afternoon. Police said the area has been cordoned off and a massive manhunt was launched by security forces to nab the assailants. Condemning the attack, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha described it as a dastardly act of cowardice. In his message, Mr. Sinha assured the people that the perpetrators and those aiding and abetting terrorists will be severely punished. The Jammu and Kashmir administration has ordered dismissal of 5 employees under Article 311 of the Constitution of India for their involvement in anti-national activities. As per official press statement, law enforcement and intelligence agencies found these employees involved in activities prejudicial to the interests of the security of the state. Acting tough on such elements, The Union Territory government has adopted a zero-tolerance policy towards anti-national elements who have been taking refuge as being associated with the government machinery.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says sensitive justice system is essential for a capable nation and harmonious society. Addresses inaugural session of All India Conference of Law Ministers and Law Secretaries in Gujarat virtually. India stands for open and rule-based maritime borders in Indo-Pacific, asserts Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for consistent efforts to bring India among top 10 countries in Global Innovation Index. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts BJP will return to power with two-third majority in Himachal Pradesh Assembly polls. Prime Minister to dedicate 75 digital banking units to the nation through video conferencing tomorrow. Indian Army signs historic MOU with 11 banks for providing banking facilities to Agniveers. Supreme Court stays release of former Professor G.N. Sai Baba and others from jail in connection with alleged Maoist link case. In cricket, India left 7th Women's T20 Asia Cup, defeating Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in Bangladesh. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
I am India. Look at me. Know my name.
We're one of the most mega diverse countries on this planet.
Our weddings, our fashion statements, they're all inspired by our silver screen heroes and heroines.
A 75 years young India.
What we are really going to see India become is a powerhouse.
India 2.0.
The Journey of India from 14th October every Friday at 7 p.m. in Hindi and 10 p.m. in English on DD National.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has asserted that consistent efforts must be made to bring India among the top 10 countries in the Global Innovation Index. Addressing the National Intellectual Property Conference and Awards function in New Delhi today, the minister said India has jumped to the 40th rank in the Global Innovation Index from the 81st position in 7 years. He said high level of transparency, integrity, efficiency and speed will be the defining feature of the country's innovation ecosystem in the coming years. Intensifying its actions in the battle against air pollution, the Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas, CAQM, has inspected over 8,580 sites and issued closure directions to 491 gross defaulters, flouting the statutory directions. Those who were issued closure directions include 118 in Haryana, 211 in Uttar Pradesh and 52 in Rajasthan. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in a statement said the Commission will make every effort towards strict enforcement of its statutory directions and orders.
The 5th Assembly of International Solar Alliance, ISA, will be held in Delhi from 17th of October. Participants from 109 countries will be sharing their experiences towards a low-carbon economy through promotion of solar energy. Talking to All India Radio News, Director General of ISA, Dr. Ajay Mathur outlined the priorities and focus areas of the forthcoming global meet. He said one of the key focus areas of the meet is streamlining the solar sector investments into the countries where investments are not flowing at present.
We will take forward a proposal to create risk management facility, which will comprise of a payment guarantee mechanism, which means that if the country is unable to pay, this would be the payer of last resort. This would hopefully create the confidence for the private sector investors around the world to invest in solar in those countries where the payment guarantee mechanism has been done. The second big thing that we want to do at this assembly is what we call as the solar exchange. This is a way to create entrepreneurs, particularly in Africa, but then in other countries as well.
The Supreme Court today stayed the release of former DU professor G.N. Sai Baba and others from jail while suspending the Bombay High Court judgment of acquitting them in a Maoist links case. Hearing a plea of the state of Maharashtra, the Apex Court said that the trial court had convicted them after a detailed appreciation of the merits of the case. The top court observed that the offences involved are very serious in nature and the accused were convicted after a detailed appreciation of evidence. The Supreme Court noted that the High Court has not considered the merits. It discharged the accused only on the ground that sanction was invalid and based on some material without entering the merits of the case. The top court also sought responses from G.N. Sai Baba and the other accused on a plea moved by the Maharashtra government against the High Court order and listed the matter for hearing on 8th of December.
Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah today said Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with his strong willpower, ended the 55-year struggle of the Hati community of Giripar area of Sirmaur district in Himachal Pradesh to get tribal status. Addressing a public meeting in Sataun area of Sirmaur, the Union Home Minister stated the decision will benefit a population of 1,60,000 in 154 panchayats.
आज मैं आपको कहने आया हूं कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने एक निर्णय कर गिरिपाल क्षेत्र के हाथी समुदाय को 55 वर्ष के संघर्ष को एक झटके में समाप्त कर दिया। मोदी जी आपकी तकलीफ समझते हैं क्योंकि सालों तक यहां संगठन का काम किया। वो हमेशा कहते हैं हिमाचल मेरा है।
The assembly elections in the state are scheduled to take place on the 12th of November. Speaking on the development of the state, the Home Minister said, be it pharma, roads, medicine, hydropower, agriculture and train connectivity, the Himachal government has left no stone unturned in any field for its people. Citing BJP's victory in the Uttarakhand Assembly polls, Mr. Shah said BJP will return to power in Himachal Pradesh as well with 2/3 majority. Mr. Shah also launched the party's election campaign song, Himachal ki Pukar, Fir BJP ki Sarkar. BJP National President Jagat Prakash Nadda today said BJP has become the largest political party in the world. Mr. Nadda stated this while delivering the first Madan Lal Khurana Memorial Lecture in New Delhi. He said the foundation of the party has been laid by such stalwarts who always stuck to the party's ideology. The BJP chief said at present there is BJP government in 18 states and the party has 302 MPs in the Lok Sabha and 92 members in the Rajya Sabha.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate 75 digital banking units, DBUs, to the nation at 11 a.m. tomorrow through video conferencing. Mr. Modi will also address a gathering on the occasion. As part of the Union Budget speech for 2022-23, the Finance Minister had announced the setting up of the 75 DBUs in 75 districts of the country to commemorate the 75 years of India's independence. The DBUs are being set up with an objective to ensure benefits of digital banking reach every nook and corner of the country and will cover all the states and union territories. 11 public sector banks, 12 private sector banks and 1 small finance bank are participating in the endeavour.
Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate PM Kisan Samman Sammelan 2022 on Monday at Mela Ground at Indian Agriculture Research Institute at Pusa in New Delhi. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said the Prime Minister will release 16,000 crore rupees under the PM Kisan flagship scheme as the 12th installment through direct benefit transfer during the Sammelan.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we bring you the story of new thrust on India's foreign policy.
With 75 years of independence, the country has a greater sense of confidence and optimism in articulating an India-first foreign policy. India decides for itself, and its independent foreign policy cannot be subject to intimidations. The COVID pandemic has brought out the risks of the over-centralized model of globalization that was being followed. Consequently, it has encouraged the building of reliable and resilient supply chains. India's message is one of engaging the world intensively, obviously drawing benefits for our own people, but while also contributing in greater measure to global welfare, development and security. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that Indian foreign policy thinking is displaying greater conceptual and operational clarity.
I hope that you also share my belief that Indian foreign policy thinking is displaying greater conceptual and operational clarity. Whether it is explanation or communication, some of the contemporary catchphrases have been impactful in their public resonance. If you consider neighborhood first, for example, it is now clearly associated with a generous and non-reciprocal approach to our immediate proximity. We envisage India as a larger lifting tide for the entire region. Our investments in connectivity, expansion of contacts and promotion of cooperation have also been noteworthy.
Since 1992, Indian foreign policy became more robust and business-oriented. Full diplomatic ties with Israel were established in 1992. Since 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has laid out his vision of Indian diplomacy. Stress has been given on Neighbourhood First, Act East, Indo-US, G20, G7, India-Russia, SCO, BRICS, ASEAN Plus, I2U2 and 2+2 framework with US and Japan. In recent decades, India has pursued a more expansive foreign policy that encompasses the Neighbourhood First policy embodied by SAARC as well as the Look East policy to forge more extensive economic and strategic relationships with other East Asian countries. Whether it was during the COVID-19 pandemic or the economic challenges, India has gone the extra mile for its neighbours and will continue to do so. Its awareness for extended neighbourhood has been expressed as an Act East policy, a Sagar Outlook, a Gulf engagement and a Central Asia initiative. India's diplomacy has also naturally focused on major powers, on key economic hubs, on significant energy sources and on influential regional players. With open-mindedness and objectivity, the country has been practicing the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas in its foreign policy. India has always viewed the United Nations as important to global peace, security and development. It currently serves as a non-permanent member of the Security Council and one very active in UN organizations and in its peacekeeping. From the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, the Quad, to the BRICS, there is a long list of memberships that India holds. India advocates a global debate and global consensus on issues of global dimensions such as world trade regime, intellectual property rights, climate change and terrorism. New Delhi has adopted a firm policy of terror and talks cannot go together, and despite repeated calls from Pakistan for the resumption of dialogue, it has made it abundantly clear that no departure will be made unless there are tangible and verifiable concrete evidence of Pakistan reining in the state-sponsored and supported terrorism targeted against India. The country's foreign policy has at least 4 important goals. First, to protect India from traditional and non-traditional threats. Second, to create an external environment which is conducive for an inclusive development of India so that the benefits of growth can reach the poorest of the poor in the country. Third, to ensure that India's voice is heard on global forums and that India is able to influence world opinion on issues of global dimensions. And fourth, to engage and protect the Indian diaspora. Today's self-confident India has a new voice in the global firmament, rooted in its domestic realities and civilizational ethos, as well as firm in the pursuit of its vital interests.
The nation is paying homage to former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam on his birth anniversary today. Dr. Kalam is also known as the Missile Man of India. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The President and officials of the Rashtrapati Bhavan paid floral tributes in front of the portrait of Dr. Abdul Kalam.
International Day of Rural Women is being observed today. The day is dedicated to the millions of women who live in remote rural areas. It is to celebrate and highlight their achievements and contributions towards rural development and agriculture. The theme for the day this year is Rural Women, Key for a World Free from Hunger and Poverty. On the 18th of December 2007, the United Nations declared that the 15th of October would be observed annually as International Day of Rural Women worldwide. Since then, many countries globally observe and celebrate the strength and achievements of rural women despite the struggles and the stereotypes. Global Hand Washing Day is also being observed today. The day aims to increase awareness and understanding about the importance of hand washing with soap as an effective and affordable way to prevent diseases and save lives. As the world moves beyond COVID-19 to a new normal, it is time to accelerate hand hygiene progress to prevent any kind of infection, and it requires a collective effort to enact real change. This year's theme, Unite for Universal Hand Hygiene, calls on all of society to work together to scale up hand hygiene.
The Air Force Vice Welfare Association, AFWWA, has made into the Guinness Book of World Record by making over 41,000 knitted woolen caps in mere 3 months. Over 3,000 female AFWWA members knit these caps under a special drive called Knitathon that commenced on 15th of July this year. The award was announced by the adjudicator, Guinness World Record, on the occasion of 62nd anniversary celebration of AFWWA at the Air Force Auditorium at Subrata Park in New Delhi today. AFWWA President Neeta Chaudhary received the award. Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani was the chief guest on the occasion. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also attended the event as the guest of honour. Our correspondent reports that these knitted caps will be donated to the homeless and poor of the country to provide them comfort during the coming winter months.
Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI, and the National Forensic Sciences University and FSU today signed a Memorandum of Understanding for setting up the testing facility for dietary supplements. The MOU was signed in the presence of Department of Sports Secretary Sujata Chaturvedi, National Anti-Doping Agency Director General Ritu Sain, and other officers of the Ministry, FSSAI and NFSU. Speaking on the occasion, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said this MOU will benefit athletes and athlete support personnel by educating and spreading awareness about inadvertent doping due to prohibited substances present in nutritional supplements.
In cricket, India have won the Women's T20 Asia Cup 2022 after defeating Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in the final at Sylhet in Bangladesh today. The women in blue have defeated the Lankan for the 5th time in an Asia Cup final. This is India's record 7th Women's Asia Cup title. Chasing a target of 66 runs, Indian Eves overhauled the target with 69 balls to spare. It turned out to be an easy chase as Priti Vandana led the innings with a half-century, scoring an unbeaten 51 off 25 balls. Skipper Harmanpreet Kaur also contributed with 11 not out. Earlier opting to bat first, Sri Lanka were restricted for 65 for 9 in the stipulated 20 overs. For India, Renuka Singh took 3 wickets. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Team India for winning the 7th Women's Asia Cup.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have a mainly clear sky. Mumbai is likely to experience rain or thunder showers would occur towards afternoon or evening. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Srinagar, Jammu, Muzaffarabad, Leh and Gilgit are expected to have mainly clear sky. In the northeast, Guwahati, Shillong, Gangtok, Agartala, Itanagar, Imphal, Aizawl and Kohima will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says sensitive justice system is essential for a capable nation and harmonious society. Addresses the inaugural session of All India Conference of Law Ministers and Law Secretaries in Gujarat virtually. India stands for open and rule-based maritime borders in Indo-Pacific, asserts Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for consistent efforts to bring India among top 10 countries in Global Innovation Index. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts BJP will return to power with 2/3 majority in Himachal Pradesh Assembly polls. Prime Minister to dedicate 75 digital banking units to the nation through video conferencing tomorrow. Indian Army signs historic MOU with 11 banks for providing banking facilities to Agniveers. Supreme Court stays release of former Professor G.N. Sai Baba and others from jail in connection with alleged Maoist links case. And in cricket, India lift 7th Women's T20 Asia Cup, defeating Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in Bangladesh. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.